I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles.
There's a new generation in the House of Lords. Baroness Owen of Alderley Edge was, until this year, the youngest peer in the second chamber.
I was born in 1993. George Michael was still at number one. And the Spice Girls were about to set in motion a wave of girl power.
She was given the life peerage by Boris Johnson after serving as a special advisor in the No. 10 policy unit. But her appointment generated noisy criticism. Some in Whitehall described it as staggering and impossible to defend because of her age and lack of experience. She says she was also subjected to lurid online trolling. Tomorrow she will introduce her first private member's bill, which, if enacted, would make the creation of deepfake pornography a crime. Currently, only sharing such content is outlawed. The previous government had committed to going further, but the legislation fell when the election was called. Spell out why you think deepfake porn is so disturbing.
It's disproportionately sexist. There's so many victims being created every single week. Women are losing the ability to choose who owns a naked image, an explicit video of them. That choice is being taken away from them.
So summarise what your bill would do.
So my bill seeks to create offences relating to the taking of sexually explicit images, which basically means that you can't take a sexually explicit picture of someone without their consent. And then the second part of it is you can't create a deepfake image or ask someone else to create a deepfake image of you without consent.
You know, big tech could root out these kind of abusive deepfake pornographic images and videos now if they chose to. Isn't the brutal truth that they're making handsome profits from the abuse of women and girls, and they're not going to give that up without a fight?
Big tech does need to take responsibility, but the first step in this big puzzle needs to be giving victims the power to say, this behaviour is wrong, it's criminal.
And yet the police can start investigating in this country and then find that the sites are hosted overseas and they stop in their tracks. Is there a danger that you're kind of whistling in the wind in the Lords?
So this is why solicitation is so key in my bill, because even if creation went through without making it a crime to solicit the image, then it would mean that we couldn't prosecute people who had potentially asked for the image to be made in other jurisdictions.
This is the first bill that you've brought forward since you took up your seat in the Lords in July 2023. Is it in a way your attempt to answer the many critics who said you didn't deserve your place in the Lords?
It's right, as an unelected member of the House of Lords, like all my colleagues, that I do get a reasonable amount of scrutiny, but this bill is entirely about the victims and helping every single woman who at present risks becoming a victim of this technology.
I mean, why do you think that Boris Johnson appointed you to the Lords? What were you told at the time?
You simply get an email through with your nomination form.
So were you surprised when you got it through then?
I think everybody's surprised, aren't they?
But it was as much a surprise to you as to everybody else.
Of course, nobody really expects such a thing. It's an honour.
I mean, there was an array of lurid claims about you online, and a lot of people believed at least some of it. We've been talking about digital fabrication of women's images against their will. I mean, just as damaging, clearly, is the online fabrication of facts, misinformation, as we might call it. Do you worry that people don't know what to believe about you, for example?
Falsehoods and the creation of falsehoods online is always wrong, and that's why I want to be an advocate. I want to help push this law through to prevent more women becoming victims of this technology. And I believe that misinformation and disinformation and deepfakes as a part of this will form a huge topic of conversation for the next decade.
Boris Johnson obviously appointing you to the Lords sort of landed you in what became a kind of media firestorm. Did he advise you on how to deal with it? Are you still in touch with him now?
Of course, I'm in touch with Boris. Boris always offers wonderful advice.
Baroness Owen, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kathy.